Well, let's talk a little bit about the governor's race, and I want to bring you up to date where things stand with regard to allegations of voter fraud in Lake County. Before we talk about that, Secretary of State Todd Rokita did call for an investigation into that fraud, and a federal judge today threw back a decision on whether or not they could open up more satellite voting offices. The GOP up there doesn't want that. They think voter fraud would be encouraged under those circumstances, so that'll be back in Lake Superior Court. Now to the governor's race. We've got a couple of polls that have come out in the governor's race. The Research 2000 poll has Mitch Daniels ahead 49 to 45%. The Pollster.com poll shows Mitch Daniels up 51.5 to Jill Long Thompson's 38.9%. Now, the third and final gubernatorial debate slated for tomorrow night. The debate will include Mitch Daniels, Jill Long Thompson, and Libertarian Andy Horning. Of course, Daniels is leading the race. What does Jill Long Thompson have to do in this debate since she's not doing television ads? How important is this debate for her?
Well, I think it's pretty important. Long Thompson is being out fundraised by Daniels quite a bit.
Yes.
I think she's probably saving her money for a big run on advertisements for the last week or two before the election. This will be some free media time, and I think she really needs to establish a solid theme. What does she offer that the current governor doesn't offer? And I'm not sure she's been successful in doing that up to now.
She has picked up the endorsement of the United Steelworkers, Local 115A. Not surprising. She has always been supported heavily by the unions. So you think that she is going to be on TV the last couple of weeks? I can't imagine she wouldn't be.
I think she will. I think that she knows she has limited resources and she's going to save it for a big run for the last couple of weeks. These polls are hard to make out, that they're varying so widely.
They really are.
And I don't know if that means that there's something up with the electorate or there's something up with these polls or what, but you know, some of them show her in a statistical tie when you consider the number of undecided voters and the margin of error, but others show the governor with a pretty good lead, so yeah, it's hard to know what to make of it.
All right, let's take a call, and let's go to Joe, who wants to talk about Jill Long Thompson. Joe, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead and tell us what's on your mind.
Yes, I'm a disabled veteran, a commander for years, and I've known Jill Long for years. She's going to help the veterans drastically, a lot, with their hospitals and everything else. And also, I've been a contractor and a businessman for 25 years. Jill can save the taxpayers, I feel, a lot of money by saving dollars on what's being spent, especially on these highways now, which is ridiculous what's being spent right now on these highways. But Jill Long can be so strong on saving taxpayers' money and a lot of various reasons, plus helping the veterans.
All right, thanks for your thoughts, Joe. A big vote of confidence for Jill Long Thompson. And I think the one thing that she has tried to focus on is her job creation abilities. I think that's probably what she is going to try to establish as her main theme, wouldn't you agree?
Well, jobs are a big issue now in Indiana, and with the economy the way it is, so certainly she's going to push for more jobs. You know, as far as the highway spending, I think we're going to see a lot of highway spending for a number of years now with this toll road money. I mean, the governor said that money would go towards highways. We're going to see a lot of visible highway work, and I don't think anybody's going to stop that, including if Jill Long Thompson's elected. I think we would still see a lot of that being done.
All right. Thanks, Tracy, and we'll be back with more of your calls. Welcome back to Political Radar. The most recent poll on the 3rd Congressional District race, taken October 6th and 7th, was conducted for the Montagano for Congress campaign by the polling firm Cooper and Seacrest. The poll shows incumbent Republican Mark Souder with a 5-point lead, 44 to 39%. Now, they also say, the people who took this poll say that there are 13% undecided, and they say that those undecided voters are mostly non-Republican. I'm not sure what that is, but they're non-Republican. And Mark Souder is feeling the effect, he has said, of what he's calling the Obama tide. And I'm sure that most Republican incumbents are feeling that to some extent. What kind of an effect do you think that will have on this race?
Well, you know, there is a real anti-incumbency mood, and I think Democrats may feel some of that in some races too. But obviously, I think the congressman's concerned that he's so much under 50% in this poll. Now, I think any poll that's done by a campaign you have to take with a little grain of salt, because they're going to skew it, or they tend to skew it a little bit in their favor. But you know, him leading by only 5 points, that's probably pretty close to the margin of error. I think one of the big questions is, well, if a lot of new people are registered to vote for Obama, how far down the ticket will they go? Will they just vote for president and stop, or will they keep going? And if they do, will they do a lot of ticket splitting, or will they vote for a lot of Democrats? And nobody really knows, and I think that's one of the big unknown factors of this election.
And a lot of people have said, too, you've got to get those registered voters to the polls, too. There's a lot of new registrants, but sometimes they don't show up in as big in numbers. Let's talk to Cindy, who wants to talk about Mike Montagano. Cindy, are you on the air?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead. You have something to say?
Yeah, regarding the Montagano-Souder race,
Yes.
is there going to be a debate this year? And if so, when? And if not, why not?
I have not heard about any debates. Have you, between these two?
No, I haven't, and I'm not sure that anyone has come forward to invite them to do a debate, but there's none scheduled that I know of.
We might have to ask them to be on the political radar. How about that?
It would be a good idea to hear the two of them
Yeah, it
to
really
trade
would.
ideas and go at each other.
All right. Well, coming up after the break, we want more phone calls, 483-8331, with questions and comments. And welcome back to Political Radar. Let's take a few more phone calls. We have had some people on hold, and let's go to Travis. Travis, did you want to talk about Barack Obama?
Yes.
Go ahead.
As little as I really believe in these political polls, because I've never heard of anybody ever being contacted by one, I do have an opinion on Barack Obama. I think there's going to be a big disparage opinion with the whole terrorist connection. If you remember back in the day, if a candidate's name was Kennedy, he could pretty much get elected by name recognition alone. Obama, a little too close to Osama, and we got the whole terrorist thing going on now in that whole debate.
Okay, well, I don't know that that was a productive comment, so let's move on to Mary. And Mary, do you have something to say?
Hello?
Yes, Mary, go ahead.
I would like to know how Obama gets to run for the presidency. If he went for any other government job, with his background, he wouldn't have a job. How can he run for president when that's a government job?
Not quite sure what you mean, Mary.
Well, if you got interviewed for a government job and you had a background like Obama's got, you wouldn't get the job. Now, how can
something to say?
Yeah,
Comment?
Melissa, this whole thing about Obama's past connections, no one is accusing Obama of any terrorist actions. And, I don't think many voters these days even remember the Weather Underground or know what they were involved in. I mean, these names mean a lot to people around Chicago in the late 60s and early 70s, and there aren't very many Hoosier voters that applies to, and I just, or elsewhere in the country, and I just wonder if this is going to resonate or not. I think a lot of people bringing this up are people who are already against Obama.
I think maybe a more productive question rather than, Obama served on a board with this person or that person, might be to ask what this person saw in Obama. Why, you can tell a lot about people by people who support them, and John McCain as well. And I just think it's the wrong angle if you're going to be examining who people associate with. I think maybe you need to just find out what is it about this candidate that person likes or that person supports. And I don't know that, I don't think this whole thing about he served on a board with Bill Ayers is really that productive and really gets them where they want to be. But I think you're right. I think the people who are really talking a lot about it were not for Obama to begin with. So, all right, we will take some more phone calls when we come back. And welcome back to Political Radar. We do have time for one more phone call, and we do want to get to that before we sign off. Let's go to Everett. You want to talk about John McCain?
No, I just kind of have a comment generally about the... Hello?
Go ahead.
I have a general comment. I'm just surprised at the election this year as to how much we're focusing upon self and selfish issues. It just doesn't seem that the public wants to hear a little bit, what can I do for my country, not what can it benefit me. what comments do you have along that line?
Do you think the candidates or the general public needs to focus more on outside issues other than what are you going to do for me?
You know, it is so hard to get a handle on these issues like health care and the economy and even Iraq, that, you know, people tend to say that they really care about the issues, but a lot of it comes down to leadership, and a lot of it comes down to who do you like more, who do you think would be the better leader, and I think we're seeing a lot of that right now.
We'll find out the first Tuesday in November. Thanks for joining us.